is the story of why I had to take a final exam on the day of my heart surgery. So my heart surgery was actually 8 years ago today. May the 4th be with you. I had to take a biology final that morning because I had gone to the hospital about a week prior for really bad heart issues, and so they scheduled the surgery as soon as possible. The surgery just happened to be scheduled the day of my last final, and at the time I was 17, and so I was enrolled in community college because I was doing dual enrollment in high school. The final was scheduled on the last day before grades had to be turned in. So obviously I reached out to the professor. I think my parents ended up reaching out to the dean, and because it was on the last day before grades were due, there was no way that I could take the final on a later day, and the professor for whatever reason couldn't do it any earlier than that. Obviously this was incredibly frustrating because my final was a huge part of my grade, and so it wasn't something that I could just miss and get a 0 on, but I also didn't really want to have to do it the day of my surgery. Actually, as it turns out, the doctor who was going to be doing my surgery preferred to do it late, so he would do them at like 11 a.m. and my final was at 8 a.m. so I decided to actually take the final before I went to the surgery. And so on that Thursday morning I went and took an 8 a.m. final at community college. My parents picked me and my brother up because we were both in the same class. I said I wanted a cat on the way there, so we stopped at an animal shelter, adopted my cat, and then went to the hospital so I could have surgery, which I know is an absolutely insane thing to do, but I was 17, I was about to have heart surgery, and I wanted a cat. I wanted an emotional support animal, and who was going to say no to that? Surgery was about 4 hours long. I was awake for about 2.5 hours of that. 0 out of 10 would not recommend, but obviously it went well, and then I got to go home to an A on the final and my cat. Definitely one of my more insane medical stories, but I have a condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which means I have a lot of weird complications from it and a lot of weird stories like that. And May is EDS Awareness Month, so every day I'm sharing about my experience with EDS and some of the things I've experienced. So that is the story of why I had to take a biology final on the day of my heart surgery. Was it an insane thing to do? Yes. Should I have just taken the 0? Probably. But you know what? It makes for a cool story. Also, if you have any other questions about that, let me know in the comments below.